ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to Funguy's Kitchen. I'm Funguy The Entertainer, and today we're going to do something that you do when you're in a really big hurry, which I am today. I have to cook dinner. I wasn't expecting to cook dinner. I was planning on bringing dinner in tonight, but I picked up a last-minute gig with one of my buses. I don't have time to actually go anywhere, and I have frozen stuff. Now, the problem with frozen stuff is usually you're supposed to thaw it first. But what I'm going to show you is how to cook something that is frozen that you can do quickly. These are boneless chuck top blade steaks. They're very thin. You can see thin sliced. The advantage to that is that these things will cook incredibly fast. So what we're going to create is a meal. I'm actually going to make enough food here for 6 to 8 people because I like to take, we're going to feed half of it today and then I'll put the rest in the refrigerator as leftovers. It's one of those meals that you can do this with. Normally rice is not a good leftover, but the way we're going to do this is going to come out great. So you're going to need 3 packages of the boneless chuck top blade steaks. You're going to need 3 packages of the Knorr teriyaki rice. You'll need olive oil, garlic powder. Normally, you know I like the fresh garlic, but in this, you're going to want the powder. Salt and pepper. On the water, you need 5 1/4 cups of water, 3 tablespoons of margarine or butter or oil. I always use butter. I like the taste of butter better. Butter. Yes, that's the way it works. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, because this will go fairly quickly, don't start the rice yet. You're going to want to heat the meat first, cook the meat first, because we're also going to make this tender by letting it cook slower while the rice is cooking. So take your olive oil, do a real quick light coating on the bottom. It does not need to be a lot. You just want to make sure it's a good coating. There we go. All right, we're going to turn the front on. Medium high. Medium high is what you use when you're braising foods, braising meats. You want the outside cooked fast. That's what we're going to do here. So while that's heating up, take your plastic off all 3 packages. This gives the oil a chance to heat a little bit before you start. You don't want it too hot because since these are frozen, they're a little wet, it's going to splatter. And obviously, if you work in kitchens, you know splatter happens. You know to be careful. If you don't know to be careful, by splattering yourself, you will learn to be careful. Everybody learns by doing. As much as we like to think we can learn from somebody teaching us, I cannot tell you how many times I have taught somebody something. Couple weeks later, I hear they did exactly what they weren't supposed to do, and they go, you know, I paid attention, but I forgot. Once you hurt yourself, you don't forget again. All right, here we go. Because they're all stuck together, you can't really break them. So you just slap them right in the pan here. Make sure you take the backing off, the styrofoam backing off. Okay. Then put the lid on it so it traps the heat. You're going to want these to thaw and separate quickly. Another thing you can do is run them under lukewarm water to help separate them faster, but this will work just as well, and it gives you a chance to start working on everything else. This whole meal should take right around 20 minutes. 20-minute meals are awesome in my book. People nowadays are always busy. I have 3 companies. I work 7 days a week, so things get kind of crazy. So we'll put this off to the side here, and I'll grab, let's see, what should I use today? I'm going to use a spatula. Because of the fact that you don't want to be sticking metal in these pans, regular spatula is fine. The rice, once that gets going, is going to need a spoon to stir. My short spoon's in the dishwasher, so I'll use the long spoon, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, I can hear this cooking already. This is going to go pretty quick. Again, don't start this yet. You want all the meat thawed and seasoned before you start this, because this is only going to take about 8 minutes. Because it's a triple batch, even though it only says 7 minutes, I go usually 8. at a slightly lower temperature. It's just, when I go simmer, I mean I go low simmer because I don't want it to burn. So this needs to completely separate and get seasoned and everything. Oh, that's the other thing we forgot. Better than bouillon. Trust me, folks, this is better than bouillon cubes. If all you have is bouillon cubes, you can use bouillon cubes. But the better than bouillon is a beef base. You've seen it in some of my other shows, but we have a lot of new viewers right now. This is a paste. Much, much better quality. The flavor is, so much better. All right, I hear bubbles. What I'm gonna look for is for the frost to melt on the top. Once the frost is melted on the top, I'm going to flip these, and they're gonna start separating. So give me just a moment. I'm gonna go grab a quick drink out of the refrigerator, and we'll be right back. It's almost the end of summer. Today is the middle, what is today? The 13th of September. The weather is absolutely gorgeous. So I've been working outside the last couple of days. Actually, the last week. Ever since the rain stopped, we have now had an extended period of dryness, which is awesome. The ground is finally drained out. My garden is doing fantastic. As a matter of fact, I am looking forward to picking up the last of my green peppers for my meals over the weekend. But because it's so nice out, working outside in the sun and the cooler temperature and the wind and stuff, it makes me really thirsty. All right, put this off to the side. Flip this over, cover it back up. Okay. This is going to go pretty good. The first one on the bottom is already browned, but before I season them, I want them separated. It gets a better even coating on the seasoning. The thing about these small, thin steaks is they're very flexible, so we're going to be able to mix them up in the pan. You can't, if these were thawed, I would suggest cooking them, cooling them, slicing them into strips, and then adding them to the rice. And then you're making kind of like a beef fried rice. Even though it's not fried rice, it's obviously boiled rice. But that's another way to do this if you have more time. We don't have time today, so we're doing it the fast and easy way. Okay. Yep, starting to separate, but it's not quite ready yet. Oh, these are. Very nice. This is still frozen together right here, but I broke it apart. Okay, look at this. I'll tell you something. These are a little bit tough because of the type of meat they are, which is why you cook them the way we're going to cook them, to make them a little bit more tender. But when you're making a rice dish like we're going to do out of this, this is really, really awesome meat to use. As usual, it's from the pig, Piggly Wiggly, right here in Delavan, Steinberg's Piggly Wiggly. They usually have it on the top shelf in the meat department, in the beef section. Okay. Look at this. Perfect. Now I can take this bottom one here and turn it, because I'm sure the other side's already cooked. Yep, look at that. One more to separate here. Okay, those are all separated. I'm going to put the lid back on this. I'm going to give this 45 seconds to a minute to brown the other side of this and help separate it. Okay. I completely forgot to have a hand towel handy. Since obviously, as I'm sure you watch, I wash my hands frequently while I'm cooking. Okay, we're really close here. Don't turn this on, but now you can add the rice to the water. A lot of times I like to bring the water to a boil first, because it helps me not accidentally burn the rice. But the proper way is to add the rice to the water before you start heating it. You bring it to a boil. Once it's at a boil, you set your timer for 7 minutes, stirring and bring it to a simmer. Stirring frequently. I like every minute, 45 seconds to 2 minutes, I stir it again. And it keeps the rice from sticking to the bottom of the pan, or the pot, I should say. And every once in a while, it cooks faster than it should. So what by stirring it, you're keeping an eye on it. You can turn the heat off a little faster if you need to. But see this? It makes a whole nice pot. If you have a rice cooker, I have not tried that yet. I'm considering getting one because I'm starting to do a lot more rice. Although, again, since my whole show is supposed to be about making things fast and easy, although I guarantee you I'm going to make some really complicated things. I can't wait to start baking. Once fall gets here and winter, you'll see me doing some baking stuff on the show. Look at this, perfect. Everything's separated now. Okay, now that it's separated, first thing you want to do is put your spices in there. I'm going to put the garlic in there first. I'm using garlic powder with parsley. It was on sale. I've never had it with parsley. I want to see what it's like. Put a nice liberal shake over the top. And then same with salt. Now, if you're looking for recipe directions, I'm talking probably 2 teaspoons of each. Same with the pepper. I am just shaking. I know what I like. I know how it looks. I realize that if I'm teaching people, I should probably do more with quantities instead of going by eyeball. But that's really nice cover. Then you take the Better Than Bouillon. I'm just going to use a regular teaspoon. Big rounded clump. Stick it in here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some water to this, and I also don't want to waste this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a container, put warm water in it, and stir the spoon in it in order to clear it. Let's just go with a cup that's faster. Since I was using the sink recently, it shouldn't take too long. There we go, starting to get warm already. I'm only going to do 1 cup of water. And technically, this is an 8-ounce cup and it's a little shy, so, but wow, it's being stubborn. Before I add this, we're going to flip this stuff around. And I'll also stir the seasoning that's already in there a little bit. And I'm trying to get the rest of the uncooked meat that was frozen to be face down so it sears a little bit. Okay. There's still a little bit on here, but now you add your cup of water with the bouillon already in it. I'm just going to use my finger to scrape this last little bit off. There we go. Put the lid back on it. Okay. Now it's time to start the rice. So you're going to turn the rice on again, medium high. And you can keep an eye on it. You want this to come to a full boil. As soon as it comes to a full boil, drop your temperature all the way down to simmer, which is about as low as it can possibly go without turning off, and cover it and set your timer for 7 minutes. And then every minute and a half, we're going to stir it. Since this is going to go fairly quickly, I'm not going to bother pausing. I'm just going to clean up a little bit, throw the stuff away that gets thrown away, put my beef bouillon back in the refrigerator. That is the only disadvantage to this beef bouillon, is it needs to be refrigerated once you open it. But in my opinion, it's worth it. All right, even though you don't necessarily need to stir it right away, I like to start to keep an eye on the butter, make sure that my butter is melting. Okay. This is cooking perfectly. You don't have to do, oh, you do need to bring it down to medium now. You don't want it medium high anymore, just medium is fine. This is beef. Beef, as you know, does not need to be well done. This is going to be well done, but it's going to be tender because we're going to cook it slightly slower. We got it medium until I see no more pink. Once I see no more pink, I'm going to drop this down to simmer also and let it soak up the juices slowly for the 10 minutes or so that this is going to take to cook. Because we're doing a triple batch, I'm assuming it's going to take about 4 minutes for this rice to come to a boil. When you're just doing a single batch, it usually goes to boil at about 2. So if you're doing a small batch for yourself, because obviously you do not need to make a big batch, you can just do 1 package and 1 package. It's really easy to remember: a package of meat, package of rice. 2 packages of meat, 2 packages of rice. I have 3 and 3. Obviously, if you are cooking for a group of 60 and you're using one of those big, huge pots, you know what to do. 50, 1-to-1 is what they call that. So if you use one of those, use one of those. Pretty simple. All right, I'm starting to see a little bit of bubbles on the outside, which means the temperature is going up. This is also looking good. We're gonna move it around a little bit. Yep, this looks perfect. At this point, we no longer need to do anything in this pan except maybe at the halfway point, give it one more stir, because there's enough liquid in here, nothing should stick to the bottom, nothing should burn. The whole purpose of doing it with that extra cup of water is to let it soak in the beef juice and the other seasonings. So I'm going to lower this just a little bit more to a high simmer, which is kind of like a medium-low instead of just straight medium, but not quite all the way down to low, because you want this to bubble and you want this to stay warm. Okay, I'm seeing slightly bigger bubbles now. The butter still has not melted, so we're going to stir it some more. There we go. We are going to be doing our giveaway. By the time you see this, actually this is going to go pretty quick because I'm probably going to try to get this out tomorrow. Normally I don't wait this long. I try to do a show in advance, so I'm a week ahead. But we've had a very, very busy September, which is awesome. Plus, of course, the holiday threw us a loop. So we're going to only have 2 more weeks left for the dinner for 2 and guest appearance on the show. So remember to comment on it. You have to subscribe and then comment, "I want to win dinner." At the end of September, I'm going to do a drawing, and you have to be willing to come to Delavan, to come to my house, into my kitchen. We will cook something for you. You'll be part of the show. How cool is that? And it's free dinner for 2. Let's see, what else am I missing? Don't forget to share, but we'll do that at the end of the thing too. We just did the Pico de Gallo with my friend and employee Jim. We're getting a lot of hits on that already, and people are telling me that it was a fun show to watch. I must apologize. I screwed up the editing at the end, and for some odd reason, you don't see me talking to you like I am now when I do my end spiel. You just see my stove, which is kind of dumb. I don't know how I did that, but again, September is a crazy month, and I got a little bit ahead of myself and I clicked the wrong button. So when you're doing things yourself, I own up to my boo-boos. Oh, I know you can't smell this, but this smells really good. Between the meat juice, the garlic, you don't really smell the salt and pepper, but you do smell the garlic and the meat juice and the beef bouillon that I put in there and the actual meat itself. Very, very good. The rice is getting closer. I'm actually surprised it's taking a little longer than I thought. I figured 4 minutes, and we're already at 4 minutes. I don't want to go on high, because every time I go on high, stuff burns the bottom of the pan, then it takes 20 minutes to clean the pan. I hate that. I am really surprised that the company that I had contacted to do a sponsor for my cookware didn't jump on this, so I'm still using all my old stuff. Hopefully we can find a cookware sponsor here shortly. I really would like to start doing a few fancier things which require better stuff than I have. I'm not going to go back into the restaurant business. I've done that before. I like this personal chef idea where I'm cooking online, cooking for select people and stuff like that. It's a lot more fun, a lot more interesting, and I get to experiment. It's not like mass producing food. I did that way more years than I care to remember. And believe it or not, most people do not have a clue what it takes to cook food in the kitchen for a lot of people. You know, they think, well, you know, I cook this at home and it only takes me 20 minutes. Well, yeah, that's true, but there's your meal, which is completely different than the 35 other people in this place that are ordering all different things. When you're only cooking one thing, like this, I have 2 pots. Very simple. When you're in a restaurant, there's a reason why there's a chef and a sous chef and, you know, dessert chef, and everybody has their own area because there's that much stuff going on at the same time, and it all has to be coordinated. Excuse me. That is the pepper. I had considered putting fresh green peppers in here from my garden, but I didn't have time to go out there today. That's another thing you could add, which would go right good with the rice, is fresh green pepper. But since the rice already has green onion in it, which is what I like. Oh, I love green onion. Even though this was dried green onion, it's still pretty good. In the wintertime, when things are slower, I'm going to do a whole bunch of things from scratch. No prepackaged rice and stuff like that. I'm going to use like straight rice and do my own fresh ingredients. The thing is, like I said, it's summertime around here. A lot of people everywhere, not just around here. This is a tourist area, so we're busier than some summertime areas, but everybody's busy and you're in a hurry. So that's why I'm showing you how to do things like this that are easy, fairly simplistic, and fairly quick. But come summer, in the wintertime, when people have more time, you're gonna like how fresh food tastes. All right, I'm starting to get some really good bubbles now. The butter is now officially melted. You really have to make sure you stir that rice frequently so it doesn't burn. I'm looking at the meat. It's starting to do the curl, which is excellent. That means it's starting to break down the I want to say collagen, but that's not right. It's the gristle in the meat. When you cook it slow, it makes it softer and more flexible, which is awesome. Which will make this a lot more tender once it's done. Okay. Because at this point, I'm going to have to be standing here for 7 minutes. I am going to go on pause. I've done enough rambling for you guys. You can see this is ready to boil. I'm going to drop this down to simmer and put the lid on it, stirring it every minute and 45 seconds for 7 minutes. And then I'll come back. All right, thanks. Okay, we're down to about 1.5 minutes on the rice. I wanted to explain a couple more things here. We're going to stir this one last time. As you can see, this is just about done. So our schedule's right on where it should be. Now, I'm only going to serve one meal right off the bat. I better move this a little bit more this way. As I am leaving, I don't have time to eat dinner. But let me explain this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of pieces of the meat, put them on one side of the plate, and then put the rice on the other side of the plate. Make it very simple. Later, when I'm going to do when I come back from doing my bus run, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up the meat that's cooled off at this point, mix it in with the rice and stir it in with the rice, and it makes, that way it's one dish versus, you know, meat and rice on the side. It'll make it a lot easier as the leftovers. You just heat it, eat it straight out. You don't have to heat the rice and the meat separately. So that's a great option for you. This meat is perfect. It smells delicious. It's already tender, just what we want. The timer should be going off any second now. Let me take a peek. Oh, I'm ahead of myself. I still had 21 seconds when I went over there. But let's take a peek at this. Yeah, look at this. This is beautiful. I'll tell you right now, this is going to be delicious. We'll give this a stir again. Now, the other thing is, once you turn off the rice, you let it sit for 2 minutes. There we go. And you let it sit for those 2 minutes off the heat. Move it to a different burner. It'll stay warm. Trust me on this. And of course, we could also at this point turn off the meat. Although this one you can leave on there because the extra 2 minutes is going to do that. So in all actuality, I'll just ramble a bit longer, and then I'll show you the finished product on the plate, and then we'll call it a show. See what else do we have coming up. The other show that I'm co-host of, What Happens to the World Today, with my partner Steve, who's in Las Vegas, it is kind of up in limbo in the moment. Steve is currently entertaining a new position out of state. We're going to attempt to try to get the stuff while he's out there and have me do the work. Cross our fingers. We'll keep things going until he gets situated at the new location, and then we can bring the show back full bore. But check out that show too. It's news talk show with no politics, no religion. It's all about fun, entertaining things, everything from science and technology, because we're both nerds, to funny things like, the semi-truck that got stolen full of ramen noodles. Interesting things, and it's great. You could also listen to us on the podcast. We have a podcast. So if you go to whathappened.world, that is our webpage, has all the information of all our stuff. This is, of course, my show. Steve has his own show called What Happened to Las Vegas Today, which is how we combined our two talents by having What Happened to the World Today. So a lot of good stuff going on there. All right, this is about here. So let's stir this one more time. This is perfect. Okay. Let's take a couple spoonfuls of the rice. Okay, does that not look great? Oop, that was a little warm. Right in the face. You do not need to bring the juice. You're tender enough without it. All right. 3 pieces is perfect. If she wants more, she could have a little bit more. But this is the finished product. This is a very, very fast, easy meal from a frozen state. It actually took me a full 30 minutes. I thought it would only take 20, but still, look at that. It's great. So enjoy this dinner. Remember, if you want to win dinner, subscribe. I want to win dinner and comment on any of the shows. 2 weeks, that's all you got. All right. Thanks again once more for watching. I'm Funguy the Entertainer, cooking for you.